And welcome to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Man, we have got a great show. Maybe my favorite show of the season. Don't tell our other guests, but it really is a good show tonight. We're going to talk a lot of high school football. We're going to talk girls flag football as well. And make sure you give this video a like if you're watching us right now. And I know you are. I can see you. And also subscribe to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. We'd appreciate it. We're getting so close to 4,000 subscribers. We'd really like to hit it during this football season. A little bit later in the show, we're going to check in with Ramona High School star quarterback Kody Shinar. He has the Rams at 8-0 and trying to make school history to go 10-0. Man, you know, Ramona won a CIF Southern Section title last year. And they won a state championship. So it's like, well, what's left to do? Well, how about go undefeated during the regular season? They're on the verge of doing that with 2 games left to go in the regular season. So we will check in with QB Kody Shinar. We're also going to hear from Moreno Valley head coach Ben Benitez. Man, Moval is having a bounce-back season. They were 2-8 last year, and right now they are on the cusp of playing for an Inland Valley League championship and punching their ticket back to the CIF playoffs. So a really good season for the Vikings, so we'll check in with Coach Benitez. But we are going to start with some girls flag football. Now, the first round, if you're watching this live on Wednesday night, the first round was on Tuesday night for most of the divisions, and we had a bunch of local teams advance to the second round. But in Division I, they will open up the playoffs on Saturday, and your Big VIII League champion, Roosevelt, 10-0 in the Big VIII. They will open up on the road against the top seed Orange Lutheran, a team that they saw in the regular season. It was a tough loss, but the Mustangs have grown since then. They're doing a lot of work in preparation for that rematch with Olu, and that's why they play the games. You never know what's going to happen. You can bet Roosevelt and Coach Constable will be ready for this first-round matchup against the Lancers in Division I. And oh yeah, it's the first year of girls flag football playoffs in the CIF Southern Section, so we're talking playoffs with the Roosevelt Mustangs here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. It is your Big VIII League champions, the Roosevelt Mustangs, here on the program. Head coach Jennifer Constable. And coach, first off, congrats. Big VIII League title. There's some good teams in the Big VIII League, and you guys went undefeated. What does that league title mean to you?
You know, I think it's a little extra special because I feel like our league is probably one of the strongest leagues out there. And even with the new teams coming out, you know, like based on league and stuff like that, I still feel like competitive wise, we're definitely the league to beat. So being able to hold that and even holding on strong as an undefeated program really holds a good benchmark for our program.
You know, I was looking at your non-league schedule too. You played some good teams in non-league leading up to, you know, Big VIII play. So was that by design? I mean, obviously, we'll talk playoffs in a second. You guys are Division I. Did you know in the back of your mind, like, hey, we've got to bulk up our schedule because we're going to see not only some good teams in league play, we're going to see some good teams in the playoffs too. Yeah,
going into it, I mean, I started building our schedule April, May of last year, and just kind of reaching out, knowing what schools were going to have programs and what schools could potentially give us a good show of what we were capable of doing. We didn't want to put a very cakewalk type of schedule. We wanted to make sure we were giving our girls the best opportunity to really compete at a high level. And in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So that was the whole plan going in is, you know, we're going to make a mark for ourselves and we have to do it by playing some good, decent teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at your schedule. I mean, you won some close games right out of the gate against Rancho Cucamonga, Don Lugo, and there was King High School. You got some shutouts on the schedule as well. Yes. What has impressed you the most, Coach, about this year's team and some of the results that you've had?
You know, last year we had a great group of athletes. This year, these athletes became family. They work so well together. They hold each other they're accountable for everything that they do. Just the level of gameplay has been such a drastic uprising change that the younger girls emulate what they're seeing from the older girls. So they really piggyback off of what's being, you know, put on the table that was brought on since last year. Mm-hmm. And they were able to build off of that. So just the teamwork and the better understanding of what their positions are and what their job is on the field has really brought the lower kids up to their standard and then their standard even higher.
You know, Coach, we're going to check in with a couple of your players in just a second, but I think you bring up a great point. How drastically has the team improved from last year to this year? Just having more experience under their belt, like you said, just getting out there and playing and understanding the sport a little bit better, from last year to where you are right now? I mean, would you say it's a huge jump?
We were, I wouldn't say we were in a rebuild year this year, but we graduated 19 seniors last year. So and those were mainly our starters. So the kids coming up, filling those gaps, really had to fill those shoes immensely. We had a lot of kids with opportunities to go play college ball. We have got several of them in college now playing. So they knew what the expectation was coming in and what us as coaches were expecting out of them. And they pushed themselves to fill those expectations time and time again. And by doing that, like I said, they brought the younger kids under their wings and really developed them that way. So seeing the growth from last year to this year has been tenfold. And it's because they have developed a pure love of the game.
That's awesome. All right, Coach, let me get to some of your players as well. Let me start with Kaylee and Carissa Green. How's it going, ladies? Congrats on a great season and a league title so far.
Thank you.
All right, so Kaylee's on the left. She's the linebacker. And Carissa's on the right. She's the quarterback. So, I don't know, Kaylee, do you ever chase Carissa around in practice, being on defense and she's on offense?
Yeah, we did today.
Does that ever carry over to home, like when you're at the dinner table or anything?
No, not really. It's a good laugh to
we have fun joking about it.
So how did you gravitate to those positions though? I'm just curious, like a quarterback, a linebacker, and I'll start with Kaylee, why defense for you?
During tryouts, my dad, he was a linebacker, and that's actually where I got my number from, number 71. So I tried to be I've been told that I was like a mini version of my dad, and so I imply it to sports also.
That's awesome. And Carissa, how about you?
So when Kaylee actually had tryouts the first year, I thought it would be fun to help her prepare for it. So I would throw the ball, and then my dad was like, "Hey, you actually have pretty good spiral." So I was like, "Oh, maybe I should try flag football." And so now I'm here.
So did you guys join at the same time, or did one of you say, "I want to play"? It sounds like Kaylee was the one that wanted to play, right?
Yeah.
And then your dad obviously persuaded you, Carissa, "Hey, you're pretty good."
Yes.
And then how awesome is it for your dad to see you guys out there playing flag football?
Great.
Does he love it?
Yes, he does.
That is so cool. So let's talk about that Big VIII League championship. Coach just mentioned there's some really good teams in the Big VIII, so you had to beat some good teams en route to get that league title. But you guys did it 10-0. You beat everybody twice, to go undefeated. I'll ask both of you the same question. When you look back at the league season, was there a game that you felt like was maybe the most important win, or maybe there was a play that was significant, we had to get that touchdown to get this win? Was there something that you're going to remember about this league championship that kind of stands out in your mind? And Chris, I can start with you.
Yeah. So I think the game when we played Santiago was very crucial because they were right under us in the Inland Empire. And so going to that game, we were not discouraged at all. We actually were fired up, and it helped us to drive and push throughout the whole entire game. I mean, something sparked in us throughout that game that helped us get that win. And after that, we just continued to drive every single game.
And you too, Kaylee. What was there a moment? Was there a game? Was there a play that just kind of sticks out for you?
I also agree with Santiago. Not only was it a real game changer in our stats and a real an eye opener, and to really set a mark on who we are as Roosevelt, and how she said the energy we had and the determination, we all wanted to be on that field, make a statement for ourselves and our school and for girls flag football in general, and pulling together with that win was really such a big deal for us.
So were you both on the team last year for Coach Constable?
No, Kaylee was.
Okay, so Kaylee was. So Kaylee, coming into this year, do you feel like just having that year of experience was, it's paying dividends, like just being able to understand the game maybe a little bit better, just seeing game action, game speed. Do you feel like coming into this year and throughout this year, you just felt like maybe you were, I don't know, maybe a step ahead of some other people who were just joining, not mentioning your sister, but some other people who are just joining?
Yes, I would say I was a huge step ahead of other people, which in my opinion was a very good thing because I was able to take some freshmen, like how Coach Jem puts in perspective, the senior, they take their freshmen under their wing. And I was able to be one of those for so many girls. So me being able to be a couple of steps ahead from playing last year, I was able to not only help my sister and help myself, but other teammates get to where they want to be. So that way when they get older, they can do the same thing as well.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. Carissa, let me ask you just, the learning curve over the course of the season, from where you started to where you are right now. Can you see growth in your game? Do you feel more comfortable out there?
Yeah, so this is my first year as a quarterback or playing flag football at all. But just before, I had no IQ. I play softball, and I'm a pitcher. But when I step on the field for flag football, I feel like it's a totally different game. I mean, the feeling's better, but to be able to grow my IQ during watching film and my coaches helping me and believing in me and my teammates giving me advice, I mean, I've just learned so much, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, Carissa, that's the perfect segue because we're going to go to not only one of your favorite targets, but I assume your softball teammate as well. If you're a softball pitcher, we got Katie Ruffer on the show as well. Hi, Katie. How's it going?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Hey, Coach was telling me off camera that you've got is it a softball scholarship?
Yeah, I've recently committed to Trinity College in Connecticut to play softball, which is really exciting.
Oh, congratulations, Katie. But we're going to talk flag football, at least for right now. But congratulations on the softball commitment there. But why did you go out for flag football in the first place? I'm just curious. I love to hear stories because it sounds like, Coach Constable and some other coaches out there, they're really good about identifying, good athletes that might make a good fit for flag football. So why did you first kind of gravitate towards the sport?
So we had heard about it, that it was going to be a new sport, and me and all the softball team were like, oh, heck yeah, we're going to do this. We were so excited for it. We went out and we tried out, and we honestly had a blast. And ever since, it's just been such a fun experience. And I think, we're all very happy that we ended up trying out for the sport because it really honestly created so many bonds and created so many fun experiences that, Coach Jen gave us and our teammates that we're very, very thankful to have, for sure.
Now, Roosevelt obviously has an outstanding softball program. I'm curious now, how many softball players are actually playing flag football?
80% of our team.
Oh,
a lot.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's so cool. So Katie, you're playing receiver. How did you get put at receiver?
I don't even really know. I think I was throwing the ball with my dad or something, and I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll do this. And it really just stuck. I feel like it's kind of the only thing I know how to do when it comes to football. So I'm glad that it's kind of it stuck with me so well. I feel like I've really succeeded in it. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So like I asked Kaylee and Carissa, at least specifically in Big VIII League play, was there a game, was there a moment, was there a play that you made or something when you look back at this league championship that kind of just sticks out to you about, being significant, being important, to get to that league title?
I think the Santiago game was really important, but I think the final game against Centennial was it was so important because that was, our secure into being league champions. Especially because at first we had a bit of a slow start, it was kind of back and forth between the teams, and it was just kind of unlocking that, fire that I know we have as a team. And so once we did, we were just on fire and we ended up getting to secure that. So that game was really, really important. And I think definitely was a really important part in how we did this season, for sure.
Katie, I didn't realize how many, new players, or at least starting players, were on the team this year. That coach said, last year's team graduated, a lot of girls, and, players had to step up, for the expectations for this team. Were you guys, maybe going into the year, at least you're like, I don't know, are we going to be good? Are we going to compete for the league title? What kind of expectation did you have going into the season?
Yeah, I think we were all a little bit nervous, but, we had so many girls come and try out. We're like, okay, there's got to be some talent in here. But especially in the summer with how much we practice, it really, showed through these girls, especially the freshmen, how, good of athletes they are and how well they can adapt to a new sport. And it made them better athletes. And I think it made us better athletes too, getting to compete with some new people. But yeah, like how they kind of adjusted and they really honestly became, great players. Some of our greatest players are freshmen. And I think that's definitely really important for, how the program is going to continue to grow. But yeah, we were definitely a little bit nervous at first, especially, with how many girls we graduated. But I think we definitely brought in a really good class for sure. Yeah.
Gosh, Katie, that's a great answer. Yeah, it sounds like the program is going to be in good hands for years to come with a lot of younger players getting some playing time. But right now, you want to win right now. Katie, I'm going to go back to Coach to wrap things up. And Coach, obviously, you want to win right now. You got some great young players coming up, but especially for the seniors, win this season, right? So you get Olu in the playoffs. That's a tough out right there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to be the best, you have to go after the best, right? And they definitely put us in a position to have to do that. We are preparing as best as we can to do our perfect opportunity to get a win. Lots of film, lots of breakdowns, lots of practice. We are going to go into this with the mindset of slow and steady wins the game. We're going to try to control the clock as best as we can. We've broken down their play calls and their schemes, and I've practiced those over and over again, and we'll continue to do it all week and just kind of give our girls the best opportunity to succeed on Saturday.
Well, Coach, we've been talking about the Big VIII League Championship 10-0, but you were 18-2 overall. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of those two losses, full disclosure, was against Olu. So you get a little bit of revenge, hopefully, in the playoffs here. But when the brackets came out on Saturday morning, I was anxious to see them, and there you guys were Division I, which is great. Like you want to, like you said, play the best of the best and be Division I. But I'm like, oh my gosh, they won the Big VIII League title. They go 10-0, and they send them on the road to play Olu. Like, come on.
Right. We were kind of skeptical too, because we didn't know if it was going to be a 16 or 32 team bracket for Division I. So we kind of prepared ourselves going into, it was 8:59 and we were refreshing the page, just waiting for it to release, right? So we kind of had it in our head who we were possibly going to face. So we knew that was a great possibility, having to see Olu. I think we've grown tremendously from the time we played them last. And we've adapted some new concepts that I think are going to be very beneficial to our program. So, hopefully we play our game and we stick to the plan and we come out with that win.
All right. Well, Coach, listen, congrats on an awesome season. Regardless of what happens this upcoming Saturday against Orange Lutheran, congrats on a great season, an undefeated Big VIII League championship. There's a lot to be proud of this year. And Kaylee, Carissa, Katie, thank you guys so much. Congrats on the season, and best of luck on Saturday coming up against the Lancers.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's Roosevelt girls flag football here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. Always good to catch up with Coach Constable and the Roosevelt girls flag football team, Division I, Big VIII League champions, and a huge showdown coming up on Saturday against Orange Lutheran in the opening round in Division I. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, some tackle football. We'll check in with the Moreno Valley Vikings and their head coach, Ben Benitez. And then a little bit later in the show, Ramona star quarterback Kody Shinar, who's got the Rams at 8-0. Trying to cap off a perfect regular season and get them a River Valley League title and into the postseason. We'll see what division they end up in, maybe 6 or so. We'll have to find out in a couple of weeks. But we will be right back here on the Inland Sports Show right after this. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco. #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa. Right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
Parents, is your young athlete training too much? Stay tuned to find out. Did you know that the recommended dosage of training hours per week should not exceed your child's age? This means that if your child is 13, they should receive no more than 13 hours of speed training, strength training, sports practice, and competition within 7 days. So, don't burn your kids out, keep development fun, and more importantly, be a crazy parent.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Big thanks to the Roosevelt girls flag football team, again opening the Division I playoffs on Saturday against Orange Lutheran. Now we're going to talk some tackle football, and it is week number 9. And the Moreno Valley Vikings in the Inland Valley League are in the hunt for the league championship. They've got a big game this week against Lakeside. And then in week 10, we could potentially have a huge game between Moreno Valley and Canyon Springs, winner take all for the league championship. It's also a rivalry game. I think it's for the Butterfield Trophy, for the Butterfield Trail that runs through the Moval area. But Canyon Springs has to beat Paris this week, and of course the Vikings, like I said, have to take care of business against Lakeside to set up that showdown in the final week of the regular season. But right now, it's all about Lakeside. It's all about week number 9. Here is Moreno Valley head coach Ben Benitez as he joins the Inland Sports Show to talk about a great season so far for the Vikings. They are 6-2 overall, a huge bounce back from 2-8 just last year. Here is Coach Benitez on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. These guys are setting sail towards the CIF playoffs and maybe a league championship in the Inland Valley. It's head coach Ben Benitez of your Moreno Valley Vikings. And coach, man, listen, when you took over at Moval, this is exactly where you wanted to be, right? Like, competing for a league championship in a prime spot to make the CIF playoffs. We're going into week 9, and you guys are in a great position right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the goal. Coming into this, I again, just trying to make sure we keep up that tradition, following a guy, like Ted Watkins and his history of, keeping Mobile football competitive. Obviously, we don't want to go backwards in any kind of manner. So, last year, we stumbled out the gate. We've had a little bit of adversity off the field that really, I think, hurt us on the field. But this year, we're bought in. The kids are, just a tight group. The coaching staff is doing amazing, and we're exactly where we want to be. Knocking on the door to get into these playoffs, and we're right there, man. We got 2 weeks. We'll see what happens, and see. You never know. 2 weeks, we might be league champs. Hopefully,
Okay, so you got Lakeside this week, week 9, week 10, final week of the regular season. You're going to play at Canyon Springs, which, might be, for an outright league championship. We'll see what Canyon Springs, will do this week. And of course, you just mentioned you guys have Lakeside, but if we could just for a moment, I do want to talk about, your last 2 games, but just for a moment, rewind back to last week. You beat a very good Paris team, man. I got a ton of respect for the Panthers and what they've been able to do. You guys used a game-winning field goal to win on the road. I mean, what do you think it says about your team to find a way to win at the end of the game? And again, going on the road's never easy, but you guys did it.
Yeah, we again, I got a lot of respect for Paris Panthers as well. That's a tough football team. We knew they were explosive when we watched film, but obviously when we played against them, they showed a physical nature to their football game too. So just they're explosive and they're physical on defense. I was just proud of our guys for not giving up, and just being resilient. We went into half; it was 21-6, and really, I've been around football for a while. A lot of times, kids kind of in a situation like that, kind of like check out, oh, we lost this game, it's over. But, I just talked to our guys. I was like, you know what? Hey, we're still in position to win this football game. You never know what's going to happen. And I was actually having a conversation with my quarterback on the sideline. Third quarter, we're out there. We came out, we got the ball to start the half, 3 and out. We punt. I bring my quarterback to the side and say, hey, man, I need you to stay locked in. It's a lot of football left. We don't know what's going to happen. As soon as I'm saying that, we get a blocked punt. And it just changed the whole dynamic of the football game. All of a sudden, we're scoring touchdowns. We're getting in position to win the game. And like you said, 3 seconds on the clock, we run out our kick team. And I just, told him, I said, hey, man, this is routine. This is why we practice these moments. This is why we do this every week, every day, really. We practice special teams every day. This is why we do this, for this moment right now. So just go out there, be routine. Do what you do, and let's win this game. And that's what we did, man, right down the middle. And it was just the energy on the sideline was just, it was love, and the camaraderie of our guys. Just they knew that we did something special by coming in at half, losing the game, and to be able to come back and win at the end like that was just, it felt special. It kind of felt like a movie a little bit. So well, Coach, we were super excited.
You guys have won, is it 5 in a row? It looks like 5 in a row, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and even just like looking at the last 3 games in league play, Inland Valley League play, a big win against Heritage. But when I look at that Citrus Hill game, that was also a 1-point victory. So twice, just in league play, you guys found a way to finish on top at the end. Again, going back to what do you think it says about this team? About they just don't give up. They feel like if they have the ball last, or if they have a chance to win, they're going to take advantage of that opportunity. I mean, you guys are 3-0 in league play with 2 of those victories, 1-point wins. But at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win, right?
Well, so I would say it goes back to last year, because I mean we were 2-8, but we had 4 games that we lost that were by 1 possession. 2 games we lost by 1 point. So we've been in these tough positions where like we have a chance. We just didn't execute. So like this year, the kids they've been in these type of situations where I don't think they're nervous of the moment. And they're like, okay, we've been here. We're okay. We have a chance. This time we just have to execute. And so I think that's what we've done. And even that Citrus Hill game. Shout out to Coach Geringer. I mean, he's an amazing coach. He had that staff ready, and they played a different physical game that we didn't expect either. And he I would say, schemed me the best all year, and he put his team in position to beat us, and we ended up with a block PAT to win that game, 21-20. And like that. And that was just again our kids being in those moments before, being ready to rise, and just being resilient, knowing that as long as there's time on the clock, we still have a chance.
Man, Coach, you're making special teams matter at the high school level, blocking kicks, kicking game-winning field goals. Like, you know, I mean, that's a facet. I think a lot of high school teams, you know, maybe they don't have a kicker they can rely on, or, you know, that's kind of a, you know, like not every team has great special teams, but obviously that was very important for you guys, it sounds like, in those two victories. Oh,
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's 33% of the game, right? Yeah. Whether it's punts, kickoffs, kickoff returns, punt returns, you know, PAT, field goals. It's a big part of the game. So, and high school football, you know, with the new 40-second clock, like you don't get a lot of reps. So you might get 60 reps, and 10 of those reps for special teams. Yeah. You know, maybe 15 of those reps for some type of special team. So we practice everything every day, every week, and, you know, just trying to make sure that we are in position to be successful, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. Like just give our kids a chance. You know, we talk a lot about situations and different rules of the game to try to talk about our football IQ so that kids understand, like, for instance, the difference of a punt, right? If someone gives us a punt and, you know, the other team touches it first, then the ball's down. But on kickoff, if they kick off to us and they get it first, now we just lost a possession. Yeah. So just things like that, you know, we don't want our kids to make those type of mistakes. So we really stress special teams here. And it's helped. You know, like you said, 2 games, 2 wins, block PAT, and then a field goal for a win.
Yeah, it's huge. Absolutely huge. Well, Coach, I only saw you guys, you know, in person once, and that was earlier this year in that, you know, that rivalry game with Vista Del Lago. And we know VDL. I mean, obviously your ties to the Ravens, and they've got a great thing going. But you battled them. I mean, it was 28-23. You guys battled them. And when I left there, I was thinking, man, Moval's going to be all right this season. Did you have a moment earlier this year? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was the Vista Del Lago game. I know you guys had a big win against Rev. But was there a game or a moment or a play where you're like, you know what? We're gonna be all right this year. We're gonna have a pretty good season.
I think it was that Vista Lago game. I know we didn't come out with the win. Obviously, you want to win every game that you play, but Vista Lago is a great football team. You know, Coach Tui over there, he really has that, you know, that program moving in the right direction and competing at the top bracket of our conference, and, you know, Rancho Verde, Orange Vista of the world, you know, and for them to be in that bracket, it's proof of how much success they've put into that program and hard work they've had to get there. But when we played them, you know, our kids weren't afraid. Our kids were like, hey, man, we're going to play ball. And the confidence I saw in their eyes, even though, you know, we're really young. You know, we only have, I think, 11 seniors, maybe 6 or 7 are actually starters. You know, I have like 3 or 4 freshmen who are starting varsity football for us this year. So we're super young. So I was a little nervous going into the year, like, what's our youth how are they gonna react to the lights? You know, they could be intimidating. But that game, you know, I had a freshman receiver score a touchdown, and just the intensity in their eyes of like, hey, I'm here. You know, we're gonna play football with anybody. Whoever we got lined up, we're gonna play ball. And so that to me gave me confidence. Like, hey, I think we might have a special group here. We might make, you know, a little run here, and then now we're going to be successful for a couple years. And so it's exciting to think about where we're at, you know, in terms of our football program. But, you know, it's just exciting to be here on a win streak after, you know, last year trying to set that foundation. And kind of our success this year is based off of what we did last year. You know, everything that we put in foundation-wise, culture-wise last year is why we're here now, and with opportunity to compete and go to the playoffs finally.
Yeah, you're right. It takes time. I mean, that's actually a really quick turnaround. Like you said, 2-8 last season to be in this spot now. What are you guys, 6-2?
6-2.
Yeah, 6-2, 3-0 in the Inland Valley League. Listen, I know, you know, coaches can only focus on who's in front of them this week. You've got Lakeside. Canyon Springs has a huge game against Paris. It's hard not to look ahead to week number 10 and see that big matchup with Canyon Springs looming, which could be for an outright league title or maybe a shared championship or however that's going to work out here at the end. But just week 9, taking on Lakeside. What do you guys have to do to continue this momentum so you don't, you know, you can set up be in a good spot for week number 10 and going into the playoffs? What do you guys need to keep doing this week?
Well, just I talked to the guys today. Just like don't overlook Lakeside. Like it's enticing to think about Canyon. It's a big city rivalry. We got the Butterfield Trophy between the two schools. We were the first two schools in Moreno Valley. There's a lot going into that game, but we'll get there. We can't skip steps. It's just like trusting our process of trying to be where we are now. We couldn't skip the weight room in the off season to be successful now. We couldn't skip spring practices to be successful now. So there's steps to this. So we just talked about like Lakeside's the next step. We stay focused. They have some great talent too. They've been competing. They've been doing the best. I don't want to look at their record and assume that they're just going to let us win this game. They're going to come out. They're going to compete. They have a good quarterback over there. We got to give them the respect that they deserve too. And it's like any given Sunday type of thing. Anybody could lose on any given day. So we got to be locked in. We have to have a good week of practice. Stay focused on who's in front of us, and when the time comes, we'll get to Canyon. But that's next week's problem. So let's focus on Lakeside.
Hey, Coach, real quick, is that like the M on your shirt that's on the side of the mountain?
Oh yeah. So this is my friend Adrian Productions.
Nice.
He was actually my quarterback. Isaiah Moxley, 2007 Mobile grad, and this is his logo that he put. It's the M on our mountain right here. We get to see the M every day on the field, and if you're from Moreno Valley, you know how special that mountain is. So just to have that, shining down on us, it fills us with a little bit extra motivation to represent our city well. So, I gotta wear our blue and gold anytime I can.
I like it, man. It's a good look. Well, Coach, listen, congrats on the success so far. But I know for you, it sounds like the goals are bigger this season. You guys are too good to just settle, for 6-2 and whatever, like league title, CIF run, all those sorts of things. So, Coach, congrats on the season. Best of luck going forward for the rest of the year here in 2024.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks again for having me.
You got it. That is Coach Benitez of the Moreno Valley Vikings here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. All right, thank you, Coach Benitez. And he also sent me a picture on Instagram of him and his young son watching the Friday Night Pep Rally. We appreciate it, Coach. Thank you so much for, being a fan and just being a high school football fan like all of us. And we all like to see the local teams doing well, and we like to keep track of them. So, Coach, thank you so much for doing the show tonight, but also just being a fan, just being a high school football fan, man. We all are. All right, right now let's take a look at some of the big games coming up in week number 9. As we mentioned, if Moval, can beat Lakeside this week, if Canyon Springs can get past a very good Paris squad, which Moval did last week on a game-winning field goal, then we'd have a huge game coming up in week number 10. But that's 1 week away. Let's take a look at week number 9. Some big games coming up. Murrieta Mesa taking on King. If Murrieta Mesa controls their own destiny, they could just win out and be the Big West Lower champions. If King wins, then we could have some a situation going on, right? And co-champions in the league. Vista Murrieta will take on Moreno Valley. The Nighthawks trying to hold on to that second spot in the Big West Upper. Vista Murrieta trying to finish high enough to get a playoff spot. 3rd, 4th place, somewhere in there in the Big West Upper. Cajon versus Citrus Valley. Technically, this is for 2nd place in the CBL. Cajon maybe feeling like they still might have an outside shot at Beaumont, but they're going to need some help for that CBL title. West Valley having a great year, but they're going to be put to the test against the heavy favorite and perennial power of the Mountain Pass, San Jacinto. Hillcrest taking on Rancho Christian. Rancho Christian is on a collision course to meet Hemet in the final week of the season in what could be the outright league championship. But first things first, the Eagles got to get past a Hillcrest team that's very good, but also very banged up, missing some key players right now. Canyon Springs and Paris, we mentioned that one. And Summit taking on Jurupa Hills. The Summit Skyhawks trying to get 1 win closer to a Sunkist League championship. So those are some of the big games coming up in week number 9 of the season. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show. More high school football as we're going to check in with Ramona High School quarterback Kody Shinar. That's next here on the Inland Sports Show. We'll be right back.
Want to know the best type of recovery for athletes at zero cost? I'm talking about sleep, of course. As an athlete, good sleep can help you reduce your risk of injury, improve your strength and power output, as well as improve your overall work capacity. It also helps you bounce back quickly from the stress of competition. As a student, adequate sleep can help boost your mood, cognition, productivity, and relationships. Bottom line, don't sleep on sleep. Boostman.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire.
Inland Sports. There, a lot of people are saying, well, maybe it's because New York's not allowing him to have Decoy there, his dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has a suite at Dodger Stadium, and maybe he needs his pooch. I thought that was kind of funny.
Man's best friend, right? Dogs always make it better. But yeah, it was just something about, having runners on base when not having runners on base. And he almost always seems to come through. So Dodgers bats came alive. This pitching has been unbelievable. All these shutouts in the postseason, they're unhittable right now. So whether it's the Mets, the Yankees, the Guardians, who cares, right? If the Dodgers are going to do this, they look like they're a wrecking ball. They're just going to blast through everybody.
Yeah, it was kind of like maybe the Padres were their biggest opponent, and once they were able to get by them, I mean, the Padres, looks like they may have had the best chance to take the Dodgers out, and they weren't able to do it.
And finally, some NBA news. Patrick, the NBA season, the regular season, will tip off next week. I think there's about one more preseason game for most teams, and we have not seen our guy Kawhi Leonard, the pride of Riverside King High School, in a Clippers uniform this season. Not only in this preseason, he hasn't even been at practice for the Clippers. And I actually went back and looked. Tyrone Lue, the coach of the Clippers, back on April 5th, said Kawhi was day-to-day with his knee injury, and they're hoping to have him back. Remember in the postseason, in the playoffs, and he never came back. And what is this? Almost like 200 days later, he is still out, and he's probably not going to be ready for opening night next week on October 23rd.
6 months later, he's still out. It just makes you wonder if that knee is toast, and we just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I mean, that the whole Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, super tandem, I think that window has closed. PG-13, gone. Kawhi Leonard, hurt. I mean, who's the big two now? James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I think the window has closed for the Clippers, man. I hate to say it because it was all in. It was like championship or bust for a couple seasons.
Inland Sports.
Hanging out with my boy Patrick in the morning on KCal 96.7 FM. Check it out every Monday and Thursday morning. All right, more high school football right now. We took a look at some of the big games coming up in week number 9. In our previous segment right now, our Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. It's a big one in the Skyline League. The Colton Yellow Jackets and the Carter Lions, a battle for first place. Going head-to-head, the winner of this one will move to 4-0 in league play and in the driver's seat to win the league championship. So you can't crown a league champion in week number 9, but this is pretty close. They'll win at least a share of the league title and going into week number 10. So this is a big one in the Skyline League. The Lions and Yellow Jackets are both having a great season, but this is a big one in terms of that Skyline League championship. Carter and Colton, your Kin Sporting Goods must-see game this week, and it is a good one. All right now let's take a look at the Boost Top 25 poll after week number 8. And I'll be honest, not a lot of changes coming after week 7 going into week 8, and then coming out of week 8, it looks about the same. They are who we thought they were at this point of the season. Not a lot of upsets, and Centennial still on top at number 1, followed by the usual suspects: Moreno Valley, Chaparral, Beaumont, San Jacinto, Vista Murrieta, Cajon, Aquinas, Orange Vista, and Norco rounds out the top 10 for the second week in a row. The Norco Cougars are back. On the other side, Hemet and Ramona still working on undefeated seasons. In fact, they're the only 2 teams in our top 25 that have not lost, Hemet and Ramona. Hemet in the Sun Belt and Ramona in the River Valley. After that, again, the usual suspects, but they've been kind of just switching spots, moving up, moving down a little bit. As you go a little bit further down the list, Rancho Christian continues to move up slowly. They got a big game coming up against Hillcrest, and then a huge game coming up against Hemet in week number 10, so they have a chance to help their cause and move up in the Boost Top 25. Valley View still hanging tough at number 25, but to be honest, if there's a couple bubble teams out there, right there on the outside looking in, it's got to be West Valley from Hemet, it's got to be San Gorgonio, and Temecula Valley. If we had bubble teams, those 3 teams are the bubble teams looking to jump in, and they could do it as early as next week. So Temecula Valley, San Gorgonio, and West Valley right there looking to climb in at maybe number 23, 24, 25, depending what happens here in week number 9. Well, speaking of week number 9, the Ramona Rams are looking to move to 9-0 this week. The Ramona Rams trying to hang a River Valley League title and get back to the playoffs. Remember, last year's championship run was great, and Ram High is picking up where they left off. We had a chance to catch up with quarterback Kody Shinar to talk about the season and what it would mean if they were able to go undefeated and win the River Valley League title. Last year was great. They won a CIF and state championship, but they didn't go undefeated or win a league title. They can do that this season, and Kody thinks it would be school history that Ram High has never had a team go 10-0 during the regular season. Here's Ramona quarterback Kody Shinar on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. We've got the quarterback of the Rams, Kody Shinar, here on the show. And Kody, man, congrats on the season so far. I know you're 8-0, but do you feel like, there's still unfinished business? You guys were so successful, obviously, last year, in the championships at the CIF Southern Section level, the state level. Do you feel like, man, 8-0 is nice, but the expectation at Ramona now is a little bit bigger? You guys have big goals this season. Is that safe to say, and why?
Yeah, just coming off of last year's state championship, I mean, obviously there's, kind of not really an expectation, but a goal to be, try to go back to back. And, just being 8 in a row right now is really a blessing,
What do you remember about last season? I mean, I know you weren't playing quarterback, but you were, still playing for the team. And, what do you remember about that championship run? And how does this season feel? I don't know, maybe the same, maybe it feels different, maybe there are some similarities with this year's team and this year's season. What do you remember about last year?
Last year, I just all throughout playoffs, after every win, just feeling good, feeling more and more confident every week after each win. And it feels like the same this year, after every win, we just keep on building up our confidence.
Kody, I'll be honest, rewind 2 seasons ago, and there was that great senior class, of course, Ramona Royalty, Bo Bruins, Nate Johnson, all those guys, Jordan Daniels, and all those guys graduated. I'm like, oh man, Ramona might take a dip. I hope not, but they might take a little bit of a dip, and then you guys go and win, CIF and a state championship. And then I thought, well, I don't know, maybe this year they're going to take a little bit of a dip. And now you guys are 8-0. You're like better than ever. I mean, are you even surprising yourself, or did you kind of feel like, man, we got a pretty good team? Even before the season began, you felt pretty strongly about your team.
Yeah, going into the season, obviously we had a lot of confidence, but being 8-0 kind of surprises me. But going into this year, I kind of knew that we had a great squad, bringing back a whole bunch of linemen and Sincere and Troy Long, just a whole bunch of guys, and the coaching staff has done a really good job of building up some of these younger guys like Isaac Mata. So, yeah, it really just feels good right now, with this kind of younger team almost.
You know, Kody, we see your highlights on the Friday Night Pep Rally, and I feel like every week it's like you're either throwing like the perfect pass or you're like rushing for 4 touchdowns. I'm like, dude, this guy does it all. So if I was going to ask you to kind of describe your game as a quarterback, how would you kind of describe the way you play the position?
I guess I kind of like a Swiss Army knife because, you know, I can throw the ball, but, you know, running has been like a big part of my game, especially after last week. You know, rushing for 3 touchdowns, you know, it just feels good to always, you know, if I'm not throwing the ball well, I can run it. And if I'm not running the ball well, I can throw it. So it's nice being versatile like that.
What's kind of your relationship with Coach Mush? I mean, he's a quarterback, you know, he's obviously well respected in our area, you know, coming off that championship season from last year, and he's coached a bunch of different places. So he knows what he's talking about. So, you know, what kind of advice, what kind of tips does he give you in terms of being a better quarterback to lead this offense?
Yeah, so I've known him for a pretty long time now with obviously Zach playing under him for a while, and, you know, my mom working at Ramona. So he's almost like he's like a second dad, you know. We talk a lot. We have great conversations about what I need to do to get better, how to run the offense better. So, yeah, it's great having a really good relationship with my coach.
So, Kody, what are the goals of this team? I know the championship last year was what, Division 11, I think it was, right, for CIF. And then and then the state finals. I know we still have 2 weeks of regular season, so it's kind of hard to predict what division you guys might end up for playoffs. But at the end of the day, to you, I mean, does it matter if you're Division 6, Division 8? The goal is the same, man, to go all the way, right?
Yeah. So our goal right now is to finish the season 10-0, and once we get placed into our division, no matter the division, obviously the end goal is to win it all.
Okay, so Kody, through the first 8 games, is there a specific game or a play or something that happened maybe behind the scenes that when you look back so far on this season, you're like, man, that's when I look back on this year, I'm going to remember this moment or this game or this play or this touchdowns. There's something that kind of just sticks out to you like, man, that was a really cool moment, you know, for me and for this team.
There's actually quite a few, you know, obviously the game-winning touchdown against Poly, that rings a bell. But the whole game against Norte Vista, just being tied at halftime 14-14, and then just us coming out of half and being the dominant team, it really, especially a win because we lost to them last year, a win over them this year really felt good for us.
You know, it's funny because we see some of these high school football scores come in on Friday night, and sometimes I'm like, man, I thought I knew what was going on, and then I don't know what's going on because, you know, you and Poly battle, you know, you guys came back at the end and won that game, and then you played Norte Vista, who we thought, you know, one of their best teams ever, according to, you know, their head coach, Ken Batdorf, and you guys go out there and beat them by 3 touchdowns, 35-14, so... And I think you beat Rancho Mirage on the road by 1. Has it been kind of like an up and down season? I mean, how would you kind of describe the season that you guys have had so far?
Yeah, I think collectively as a team, we can only really say that we played like a really, not really perfect game, but a complete game against Norte Vista. We have had our ups and downs, but, you know, Poly's a good team. They're 2-6 record, I think it is. That does not describe how they are as a team. They're a very good football team. And, you know, like going out to Rancho Mirage, that was kind of a tough game. It was weird, you know, going out to the desert. It was hot, humid, you know, just playing a whole bunch of people we don't really know. So, yeah, it's really been a kind of funky season almost.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, you know, whether you're winning by 1 on the road or you're beating Norte Vista by 3 touchdowns, at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win, right? Do you just kind of say, okay, you know, we found a way to win. That's the good news. Like, whether it was close or not close, at the end of the day, you found a way to win, right?
Yeah, so like basically after every game, we always talk, and you know, like at the end of the day, we are 8-0. You know, no matter how bad or how good we played, so you know, every win, you know, feels good.
All right, Kody, I'm going to put you on the spot because I don't know this answer, and I don't know if you know it either, but the last time Ramona went undefeated in the regular season, you guys have had great seasons at Ramona, but I can't remember the last time a Rams team went 10-0. Like, do you happen to know by chance?
I don't think there ever has been, because I remember my older brother, his, I think, senior year, they went 9-1, and that was like a record-breaking season going 9-1, and then they did it the next year with the class of 23. So, yeah, so I think if we go undefeated, it'd be the first in our school's history.
So, let's see. I think you have, Rubidoux this week? Is that right?
Yeah.
And then Patriot in week number 10, the last
Correct.
2 weeks? So what's kind of the mindset that you guys, stay focused, right? I mean, you don't want to stub your toe on a team that you might be the favorite, going into the game, but how do you guys stay focused and make sure you win those games that you're supposed to win and get that 10-0 record and go, headstrong into the playoffs feeling like you got a chance to make a deep run? How do you keep that mindset, that focus?
Yeah, just making sure everybody's working hard at practice, staying in the weight room, watching film, all of that, taking one team at a time, not looking ahead too far. But yeah, we know Roosevelt is pretty good this year, and Patriot has a pretty strong team this year. So,
yeah, Patriots got a great running back, Josiah Felix. We've seen him a little bit, and then Roosevelt. I was out there for the first half against Norda Vista, and I'm like, man, Roosevelt is doing exactly what Norda Vista does. They're playing, they're winning the line, and they're running the football real hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a 1-point game at halftime. So you just never know. You never know what's going to happen in these games.
Yeah, so I know Roosevelt has a pretty good quarterback, sophomore.
Yeah.
And we know Patriot likes to run the ball with number 4. So those are going to be 2 pretty good games.
All right, Kody, finally, finish this sentence for me. The Ramona Rams need to blank to win a league championship and go deep in CIF.
I think we just need to stay focused and, stay to our brand of football, not trying to do too much. Everybody just doing their assignment, staying on task, just really working hard. And I think we could end this season with another ring.
That's awesome. That's Kody Shinar, the quarterback of your Ramona Rams here on the Inland Sports Show. Kody, congratulations on all the success so far. And hopefully it is school history. Hopefully in a couple of weeks we're talking about, 10-0 and River Valley champs and school history and all that good stuff. But then I feel like, the real work begins, right? To try to go deep in CIF again.
Yeah, our first goal is 10-0, but obviously, our long-term goal, and it's been since the summer, is another state championship.
Man, awesome things happening at Ram High right now. Once again, Kody Shinar, quarterback of the Rams, here on the Inland Sports Show. Thanks so much, Kody.
Thank you for having me.
Inland Sports. All right, a big thanks to Kody Shinar for joining us here on the Inland Sports Show. Before we bounce on this show, let's take a look at the Big Boost play of the week. We rewind to Wheelock Stadium last week. It was Hillcrest taking on Riverside Poly in a very important Sun Belt League game. We like to call it the Fun Belt. Inland Sports. Every single game is a battle in the Sun Belt, and this was no different. Hillcrest led 13-12 in the fourth quarter when Victor Aguilar, the QB for the Bears, finds Matthew Padilla for the touchdown to give Poly the lead. That would ignite a 20-point fourth quarter for Riverside Poly. So they once trailed 13-12 in this ball game, and they storm all the way back to win 33-12 against Hillcrest, and a very important game in terms of who's going to make the playoffs out of the Sun Belt League. Right now, Hemet and Rancho Christian have the top 2 spots, but after that, it is a logjam. Poly, Hillcrest, Valley View is right there in the mix, and you can never count out Arlington as well. But Poly with a big fourth quarter to come back on Hillcrest, and that's our Big Boost play of the week. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Inland Sports Show. Thanks for tuning in, and a big thanks to our guest tonight, Ramona quarterback Kody Shinar, Moreno Valley football coach Ben Benitez, and Roosevelt girls flag football. Go Mustangs as they take on Olu in the Division I first round coming up on Saturday. My name is Pep Fernandez. Thanks for tuning in. Give it a like, subscribe. We'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.